Hey, Kevin here. Welcome to our small group host training video. Thanks for your interest in hosting a small group. This is a really important part of our church, and I'm thankful that you are interested in doing it. Just right off the bat, this is going to be a very kind of high level, quick and dirty training. Probably not going to answer all the questions you might have, so you can always reach out to me if there's anything that's unclear or that you need some more information about. Right off the bat, we call you hosts very intentionally. In doing this, we're not asking you to be a theologian. You don't have to teach anything. You don't have to have all the answers. You really are hosting a discussion for people. We want to just take the pressure off you that you don't have to have some high level of qualification in order to be a small group host. I would just quickly review the requirements for hosting a Vineyard small group. Obviously, we want our hosts to be people who have a committed relationship with Jesus. That includes being baptized as a follower of Christ. We need you to be around the Vineyard for a while. We need to kind of know who you are and have been in attendance for a few months. Ideally, we would like for you to have gone through a small group in the past, so you have some sort of example that you can draw on. You would need to have some kind of, space to host people, a place that's welcoming and free from distractions. It doesn't need to be fancy or large. A living room that could hold 5 or 6 people is more than sufficient to be able to host a group. And then obviously just commit to, the full semester. Usually it runs 8 to 10 weeks. Obviously sometimes major life events happen. You find out you've got to move, or your house floods or something like that, God forbid. If something like that happened, then we would just absolutely help you transition. We'd transition the group and try to find someone else to finish out that semester or something. I also say kind of 8 to 10 weeks. There's typically 8 weeks of content, but we think it's a good idea to, maybe throw in a game night once or twice during your time together, just to create fellowship opportunities. Sometimes you get sick, or it's spring break or something like that, or a holiday, and you need to take a week off. So anyway, 8 to 10 weeks, there's 8 weeks of content typically. If you're not sure if you meet those qualifications, then just, reach out to me and we can talk about it and see what needs to happen. I'm going to talk for a moment about just the elements of a Vineyard small group, and I kind of break them into things that are non-negotiables and then things that are optional. So I'm going to begin with those optional things in a small group. The first one is music. I think music can be really helpful in a small group setting, especially in preparing people maybe to go into prayer or something like that. We're Vineyard, we like music. And so if you can play an instrument, or if you're blessed with somebody that's at your group that can play an instrument, then by all means, include worship as part of your gathering. You're also free, if that's not the case, you're free to, find some music videos with lyrics on YouTube, or play Spotify, whatever you want to do. But it's not a requirement. You don't have to have music as part of your meetings if you don't want to. That's an optional. The other optional would be food. Again, food is a good way to facilitate, group cohesion and dynamics and fellowship and things like that. But it's not required. If you want to do food, you have the options of doing a full meal, or you could just choose to have a dessert, either at the beginning or at the end of your time together. My only advice would be, don't share that load, basically. Get some other people to help you. Have other people contribute, to the meal, or Even better yet, get somebody to take on the role of being a meal coordinator for the group and let them coordinate whatever it is you choose to do. So anyway, but point being, worship, food, those are really up to you. You can do it however you want to do it. The things that are non-negotiables as far as having a Vineyard small group would be this. The first would just be the content that we provide for you. We want you to use it as is. We don't want you to go out and try to find your own supplements or anything like that. This material has been vetted by the elders and myself. We trust it, and we're confident that it's doing what we want to do as a church in helping to form authentic followers of Jesus. I would just say that in general, it's not going to be helpful as you're leading to discussions to disagree with the material that's being presented. It will end up just kind of derailing the group a little bit. I would just say if you have any issues or concerns with any of the content that we provide, please reach out to me and we can talk about that. So the content obviously is a non-negotiable part of our gatherings. The other non-negotiable would be prayer ministry. Typically at the end is when we would do that. We're a vineyard, and so we still believe that God is doing the stuff today. And so every meeting needs to have some space to pray for one another. And that can happen, a couple of different ways. Obviously, you can always just ask for prayer requests and let people, share anything that they need prayer for. But we also believe that the Spirit leads and speaks and guides. And so it can also be very good to just learn to create some space and some silence during prayer and just ask the Spirit to speak. And it's amazing how often when we create that space that people will get an impression that maybe there's something else that needs to be prayed for or someone that needs to be ministered to. And so those are the big non-negotiables that need to happen without fail every time, is go through the material that we provide and pray. So I want to take a moment just to kind of talk about the content that we use in our small groups. So we use some material called from an organization called Practicing the Way. John Mark Comer is the one who has kind of founded this group, and we've been using this for a number of times. And again, we feel like this really gets to the heart of what it means to be formed as a disciple of Jesus. We also supplement the sessions from Practicing the Way with some corresponding Bible studies that will supplement, reinforce what the topic was in the Practicing the Way material. So Practicing the Way is video-based content. So obviously you're going to have technology, a TV that can connect to YouTube. I put all the sessions out on our church YouTube channel. I'll give you the link to that. And like I said, there's typically 4 videos in a Practicing the Way session. Each video is generally arranged the same every time. There's a short period of just introduction, and then on the video it will ask you to pause the video, and it will put up some questions for you to discuss as a group. That first round of discussion, I wouldn't take more than 15 minutes for that. And then when you replay the video, you watch the main content. That's usually around 20 to 25 minutes. And when that's over, again, it will ask you to pause the video and give you some more questions on the screen to discuss. That takes a little bit longer, and that's where you really want to spend most of your discussion time as a group in that part of the video. And then when you're done with that discussion, there's typically about a 5-minute kind of closing portion of the video that you would watch. Bottom line, follow the instructions on the screen. It's really that simple when you're doing the videos. And all the discussion questions will be on the screen for you. But something new that we've added is that we've also we'll provide you some Bible study material to do that's going to actually help go into that topic a little bit deeper, looking at a different passage in the scripture. We think it's important. The Practicing the Way material is Bible-based. It's phenomenal material, but typically there's not space to really just open the Bible and read it and study it for yourself. And so that's what this other part of our small groups is we want you to have some time to actually be in the Bible itself, looking at it, reading it yourself. As a host, your role is still just to facilitate discussion. You don't have to teach anything. Again, what you'll be given everything you need, but there'll be a passage to read, either you or get someone to read it out loud. There is a little bit of a commentary area so that just to provide some explanatory notes about the passage. You can use them or not use them. Just let them be for you if you need to answer a question, whatever. And then there's just some discussion questions. And so similar to the video, you'll just read through the discussion questions hopefully these questions will help people apply more deeply what they're learning. And so basically the form for the 8 weeks is 1 week you'll watch a Practicing the Way video, and then the next week you'll follow it up with a corresponding Bible study that's somehow related to the previous week's topic. And then the next week you'll go back to a Practicing the Way video, followed up the following week by another related Bible study. And you'll go back and forth that way during the course of the 8-week semester. Depending on the size of your group, it can be a little bit challenging sometimes to get through all the questions that are going to be given to you, kind of depending on, again, the size or how talkative they are. And so I think there's a couple of ways you can handle this. One way would just be simply to cherry pick what you think are the best questions, the ones that just really get to the heart of what the topic is really about. So, feel free to use your best judgment if you need to do that, to just pick out, a few questions that you can get through. The other option, depending on if you have the space for it, is you could subdivide your group into smaller units and ask somebody in each unit to lead the discussion. And that way there's fewer people talking in each mini group, and they could get through the material that way. Use your best judgment. You may have to experiment for a week or two if this is a problem until you figure it out. And like I said, if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. So again, I know that this is a very, kind of high level flyover of the small group hosting process and things like that. And I probably have not covered everything that or every question you might have. And so please reach out to me. I'll make sure that you have my number and my email address, and you can just contact me anytime with any question that you have, as well as, during the small group session, semester itself. So anyway, thanks so much for your interest in hosting a group. Again, these groups aren't really optional in my mind. We see them as an essential component of whole life discipleship that we're trying to do here at the Vineyard. I'm thankful, so thankful that you're stepping out to serve in this way. I know it can feel a little bit scary, but you can do it, and we're going to help you be able to do it. And I am praying for you, and I will be praying for you. And I just look forward to hearing about all the awesome things that God accomplishes through your group in the future. And so thanks again for your interest, and God bless.